as the death toll rose to 32. The president's response was to promise to make a personal contribution of $1 million to Hurricane Harvey relief. Walter Schaub, the former director of the United States Office of Government Ethics, tweeted this in response. If POTUS really does donate $1 million of his own money, not his children's money, not his company's money, not his foundation's money, not money from others, to an actual legitimate 501c3 charitable organization, not one that he or his family or his company controls, not his foundation that uses donations to buy a portrait of himself, and provides the public with verifiable proof that he fully completed the transaction in the reasonably near future, not distributed over 10 years, not whenever the IRS tax audit is completed, then I will gladly offer up a genuine thank you to him for donating 1/100th of 1% of the $10 billion that he purports to have, which would be exactly equivalent to a donation of $100 by a family of 4 Americans with a home, a retirement plan, and personal savings worth a combined total of $1 million. Joining us now, Anna Marie Cox, a contributor to the New York Times Magazine and the host of the podcast With Friends Like These. Also with us, Charlie Sykes, author of the forthcoming book, How the Right Lost Its Mind. Charlie's an MSNBC contributor. And Anna, your review of the president's response to Harvey so far.
Underwhelming, I guess, would be the gentlest critique that I could give it. I was actually driving somewhere earlier this week and heard Mike Pence on the radio talking in Texas, and I had this moment of both fear and relief at thinking he might be the president. It's a low bar to sound presidential these days, but this guy who has the personality of a Ken doll managed to seem compassionate and empathetic in comparison to the actual president, who literally did not see any of the flood damage himself, literally saw nothing on his own with his own eyes about the devastation that's going on there. Didn't touch a single survivor. It's astonishing. I mean, I also, you did a lot of really good contextualizing for his donation, so-called. I would like to point out that it's also 1/10 of 1% of the $1 billion that the Trump budget proposes to cut from FEMA, among other disaster aid agencies. The reason why a lot of us give money in times like this is because we can't do anything else. This is the way that we choose to feel involved. We're far away, so we can't get physically involved. We're not a member of the government, so we can't do anything structurally, so we give money. The president can do a lot. $1 million is, even if he actually gives it, it's literally almost the least he could do. He could do a lot more in terms of preparedness, in terms of climate change, in terms of getting people to realize that we need to change the way we think about development. I am going on a little bit. I want to hear from Charlie.
Okay. Charlie, the president could make out that personal check to the United States Treasury, just send it right in there. Of course, then it would not be deductible. He would not be making a charitable contribution. But certainly FEMA, they know what to do with that money.
No, I mean, congratulations if, in fact, he writes out the check, but all the questions you're asking are completely legitimate. I thought your comparison with Sandra Bullock was right on point, but no one's going to think of asking whether Sandra Bullock's really going to write out the check and really it's, and whether it's her own money, because unlike the President of the United States, she is not a grifter when it comes to charity. That's the problem. But also, and I think Anna Marie was touching on this, the absolute complete lack of empathy by this man was on display this week, and I actually think people are starting to see this. You watch some of the focus groups, look at some of the polls. People are sort of stepping back and going, okay, we might have supported him because we thought he was going to fight for us, but it turns out it's always all about him. It's all about Donald Trump, and you can kind of sense, a growing sense of understanding about the character of this man. And again, when you have a natural disaster like this, Is it too much for the President of the United States to be a healer, somebody who will focus the nation's attention, do the kinds of things that Anna Marie was talking about? Is it really too much to ask that? And the contrast between Mike Pence, who is not necessarily the warmest, bubbliest, cuddliest guy in the world, and Donald Trump was actually pretty dramatic this week, I thought.
And Anna, the Congress has a lot of important business to do in September: raise the debt ceiling, get a budget passed, and pass some new money that no one has contemplated until now. Pass some new money for this Hurricane Harvey relief, and that's going to be a very, very big package. The truth of where the president is on this will come in how he tries to help in managing that legislation.
Or if he doesn't do anything at all,
right,
which is what I imagine is going to happen. I think he's going to tweet Fox and Friends and talk about what he saw on TV. His entire reaction to the storm seemed to be as though it was sweeps week. As though he was watching a Weather Channel special and not actually seeing this horrific, catastrophic event take place, and something that is going to be unprecedented, that is unprecedented in terms of how many people it's displaced and how much rebuilding there's going to be. He doesn't feel anything except what he feels for television.
And Charlie, we'll see how much he pushes the Congress to get this done.
Yeah, absolutely. Or because I do think that, for him, it is the show. It's not the policy. It's not the results.
Anna Marie Cox and Charlie Sykes, thank you both for joining us tonight.